I'm Rob Port from SayAnythingBlog.com. Making headlines around the state this last week was an alleged, I don't want to call it like an altercation or an incident between Representative Kevin Cramer and a Spirit Lake Indian Reservation official by the name of Melissa Merrick. Ms. Merrick made some accusations against Representative Cramer that he, quote-unquote, verbally abused her and other representatives of the tribes at a meeting in Bismarck, that he berated them, I think is the word used in some of the internet reports. Essentially, Representative Cramer expressed some doubt about a provision in the Violence Against Women Act, which expands the jurisdiction on the tribes to non-tribal members. And during the course of criticizing that aspect of the law, Representative Cramer said that he had some real doubts about the tribal justice system and the way they're performing now. And we need to remember, and my guest is Betty Krenz, who is she works as social work on the Spirit Lake Reservation, and we got to remember that the Representative Cramer's comments happen in the context of what is frankly a horrifying child sex scandal on the Spirit Lake Reservation. 6 months ago, the Bureau of Indian Affairs came in and was forced to take over the child services programs on the Spirit Lake Reservation, specifically because tribal officials were being accused of looking the other way and other things. Ms. Krenz is actually a whistleblower in this matter, and I wanted to bring her on to talk about Representative Cramer's comments. Ms. Krenz, obviously you've seen the media reports of what Representative Cramer said or was alleged to have said. What struck you about his comments?
First, I almost wanted to clap. I wanted to applaud the fact that Representative Cramer was so fired up about this. This has been something that I have worked with Senator Heitkamp and Senator Hoeven, and I have communicated with Representative Cramer about my findings and my situation that I run into while I work there. And I haven't seen much emotion from anybody, and that's very disappointing. So when I seen the emotion and I heard his comment, he may have went out of bounds a little bit. At least the man is acknowledging the fact that tribal courts and this particular tribal government really needs some help. They're struggling.
Before the interview, I asked you if it was fair to call you a whistleblower for this situation that's going on in the Spirit Lake. Describe for us how you became, and you said it was fair to describe you that way. Describe for me how it was you came to be a whistleblower for what's going on in Spirit Lake.
Okay. I work for Tribal Social Services. I am not a licensed social worker. I have a 4-year degree in psychology and a 2-year nursing degree, but I am not a licensed social worker. I was hired by Tribal Social Services to do case management and act as the custodian for the kids that they had in their care. I was not hired to do child protective service work, just as the case manager once children were brought into care. It was my job to set up a case plan for them, find a foster home, and work with the parents to reunite the kids back into the home. After I had been employed there for about 4 or 5 months, things started to get kind of heated because I noticed a lot of discrepancies. I was studying my buns off with a child welfare certification out of UND, and I was really questioning why tribal social services didn't have to follow the same rules as, say, a county social services. So on top of learning my job, I had to learn about the tribal code and how the tribes are, they're a sovereign nation. They have their own rules to follow. So it took me a little bit longer, but after 6 months of being employed there, I seen some real scary stuff. I had been asked a couple different times to disregard a court order. Kids were being moved around and taken out of homes without court orders. Things just weren't going as they should. So I brought it up to the tribal council, and I got absolutely zero help from them. Zero. They were not at all taking any notice into what I had given them. So I went to the BIA. I got absolutely no reply from the BIA on the reservation. I had to go to Aberdeen. After I got to Aberdeen, they did step in and do an audit. And I believe that audit is quite public. There were pages and pages of discrepancies and deficiencies that they found. I then took this same documentation to Bismarck and asked the state why they hadn't stepped in. And I guess in April, then Dr. Tillis came out with his letter of grave concern, and him being a licensed professional with a lot of years experience on the reservation, I was very much relieved, and I thought, well, man, everybody's going to listen to Dr. Tillis, right? Wrong. Nothing. So in February of this last year, I was actually, it was kind of exciting. I went to Washington, D.C., and I got to meet with the senator's staff and whatnot and show them what I had. And
which senator was that?
For the big meeting at Spirit Lake then, to see how things were coming with the BIA.
Which senator did you meet with?
I met with Senator Hoven and Heitkamp's staff.
Okay.
I've never personally met with Mr. Cramer or any of his staff, but Heitkamp's staff and Senator Hoven's staff met with me. They looked over everything, and Senator Hoven's office has kept in touch with me. They've been very, they've acted like they're concerned. I believe I personally feel that Senator Hoven's staff has been a lot more helpful, directing me where to send some of this information and what to do with it. I was just so excited when I seen Kevin got emotional, because this is a really emotionally charged situation. We're talking about, I mean, victims don't necessarily have to be over 18 years old. They don't, I mean, we're talking about kids that are victims, not just adults. So I think he really seen through all that. I don't want to say drama, but he's seen through all of that, and he wanted some answers.
A lot of the
Spirit Lake Tribal Court has absolutely no appeal system. They break their own law.
When you say they don't have an appeal system, describe that to me.
Judge Bellegarde and Judge Molly McDonald went to the chairperson Roger Yankton after he got put in place and explained to him that, hey, we need to reapply and pay, I think it was like $3,000 to the Northern Plains Appeal out of Aberdeen. They go from reservation to reservation, and they're their appeal system. It's in their own tribal law. It's in their tribal law and order code, Chapter 11, if anybody wants to look. And it's named in there. Roger never paid it. So there is no appeal system. The judge that works there was handpicked and hired by Roger Yankton.
So right now, if somebody were to be convicted in the tribal court at Spirit Lake, and they wanted to appeal their conviction, they would have no place to appeal to?
There is no tribal court. There is no appeal system for tribal court. If they had a complaint, you would have to take it to the tribal council.
A lot of the accusations being made against Representative Cramer with his comments and the incident that happened that made it into the news last week was essentially that he was, some have gone so far as to call him racist or anti-Indian or anti-Native American. Some have said that, he was sort of verbally abusing a woman who herself claims to be a victim. What do you make of those accusations?
Oh, I'm gonna go out on a limb, and people are probably gonna slam me for saying this, but everybody walks on eggshells. Nobody wants to say anything to offend anybody. And I think we have to I don't want to say get over that, but we have to look at the bigger picture here. This isn't about a Native American culture. This isn't about a German culture or a Russian culture. This is about, they're United States citizens. We pay taxes, and our federal dollars go into this system. When do you draw the line? When do you say you can't write the rules and take our money and write the rules as you go? This isn't about tiptoeing and not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. This isn't about this isn't about who's a victim and who's not a victim. This is about what's right's right and what's wrong's wrong.
There's a
whether you're Mexican, Native American, African American, white, whatever you are, you should be asked to bind by the same rules and laws as the rest of the world. Plain and simple.
There's a documentary coming out on PBS's Frontline program called Kind-Hearted Woman. It's about a woman who lives at Spirit Lake, or at least did live at Spirit Lake. I guess I don't know if she's still currently living there. Followed her over the course of several years, according to the description of the program, which is set to air April 1st and April 2nd. Basically following her battles in the tribal court system. Woman by the name of Robin Charbonneau. I understand that Robin is someone that you know. Can you describe for us, maybe give us a preview of some of what that program is going to shine a light on?
I think it's gonna bring the flaws of tribal court right to the surface. This is going to be something that it's going to be really difficult to watch, whether you live on the reservation or you live off of a reservation, because this is about sexual abuse, it's about alcoholism, it's about some really ugly stuff, but it highlights the court system, federal court and tribal court. And I think before anybody makes any big judgments about if Kevin had anything to be emotional about, they should watch it and see. Because what this family has gone through is not abnormal. This isn't like one case out of a million that gets mucked up when it goes to court. This is unfortunately the norm. And it needs to be looked at. It needs to be looked at honestly. And like I said, it's not going to be easy to watch, but I think if people do watch it, they'll see it. They'll be able to understand where Kevin got some of his emotion from, and maybe understand it a little better.
If you could say, last question, if you could say one thing to Representative Cramer right now, what would you say?
Kudos. Way to go. Thanks for paying attention. There are a lot of people, adults and children, that live on the reservation that just want somebody to please make a difference for them. And I would say thank you.
Betty, thank you for your time.
No problem. Thank you.